Hi, I'm DJ Fresh. This is my producer's house, and this is where I make all my music and where all my beats start coming together. SBTV. The great thing about sound is that it's around you all the time. You hear things all the time, and silence is an empty space that's waiting to be filled with music or with noise. And it's just really cool that you can define what that space is going to be filled with, and there are no limits to what you can fill that space with. When I was at school, I was always really rebellious, like even musically, and there was one teacher actually in my school that when I did GCSE he gave me 99% in my composition, and at the time they had like a little kind of room and they just had like a keyboard and like an early version of Cubase called Notator. So I did my music GCSE on it, and all the other teachers in the school were like totally against it. Now it's different because people know that you can make music electronically, but at that point it wasn't really encouraged, you know, especially by the system. I hope that it is now. And I remember the first tune that really pricked my ears up with that style of music. I was on a school music trip, and this guy who's a few years above me at school gave me a tape of an early hardcore or sort of jungle rave that he'd gone to, and I just listened to this tape over and over again. And it was back when you had like Walkmans that would just sort of get to the end of the tape and then go back to the beginning, just keep going around in a circle. It was quite simple, but you could hear that it had all been made by one person. You know, that one person had been able to sit down and make this stuff, and the sound sounded really futuristic. And I don't know, something about it just really made me feel like, you know, I need to try and do this. I need to find a way to make this music.
It's like gold dust, you hear me coming through your speakers. You see me mashing up your airways. I know you can't get enough of my sound. It's like gold dust, you hear me coming through your speakers. You see me blocking up your airways. I know you can't get enough of my sound.
My parents were not really very unsupportive of me making music. They really didn't want me to do it. So in a weird sort of way, if it hadn't been for things like that, I probably might have stopped and gone and done something else. I probably would have been really, really unhappy. So in a way, it was I guess, you know, if people have appreciated the stuff that I've made, then it was a good thing that I was given that early kind of, you know, recognition to just give me the confidence to keep going. I've been making drum and bass for such a long time and doing kind of really one thing and experimenting within like this kind of like these walls of like being restricted slightly musically. So the great thing about the success of Louder and Gold Dust was that it's made me feel more confident about doing what I want to do musically, rather than being restricted to these boundaries. And I'll still always be making, you know, underground heavy stuff because I love it, and I can't stop loving it and making it and listening to it.
Get your hands up 'cause you think you got it. Going crazy when not even started. So funny that you think you're winning, 'cause somebody told you who was spinning.
Even if people come to me and I know there's a lot of money involved to produce somebody, I'm not taking stuff on except for, you know, unless I actually really want to do it and I feel like I've got something to genuinely kind of to offer, do you know what I mean? Rather than than that I'm sort of trying to do stuff specifically to make money. There's a lot of skepticism on musicians in general. Like, as soon as you do something successful, you're going to get people that are dubious about it and, like, you know, you're trying to sell out or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, you know, we all need to make a living, and just, you know, musicians just as much as anybody else doing any job. And if you think about how majority, so many people are, you know, not in such a fortunate situation to do something that they want to do, and they're going out there doing stuff that they totally don't want to do to make money. And it's kind of ironic that in an industry that's supposed to be about freedom, that it's seen that if you do something to make money, that's wrong. Do you know what I mean? I'm just really focusing on writing songs at the moment. It's just what's really inspiring me at the moment. So I'll do something with either a specific, like, vocalist in mind or with a song in mind, and then at the end of that process I'll start to look at who's out there that I might be able to work with that can fit the track and that I can work with to kind of, like, embellish what's already there. I wouldn't really work with someone, you know, just because they were massive in some world or whatever. I would tend to work with someone based on them fitting the music, and if they do have a good profile, or, you know, they're kind of somebody that I respect artistically, then that's kind of a bonus. But the main thing really is to just get the song sounding as good as it can, which could mean working with anyone, just depending on what works. I'd really like to work with bands, really. I mean, people like Coldplay, Fleet Foxes, who are both bands that I think are really, really talented musically, and I think to kind of mix the electronic side of things with the more traditional songwriting world, which is bands, is just something that's really interesting, something that I haven't really explored yet. There's so many people that I'd like to work with, and I think really it's about your chemistry with somebody and your musical chemistry with someone. And it's always really difficult to anticipate who's going to be a good person to work with. You just have to try things to see what works. Welcome to my studio. This is where I get my beats on, and that's my vocal booth up there. I've got like a little video link to the vocal booth, which is actually in my garage. Basically, the majority of what I'm doing now is on a computer. I haven't actually got my keyboard with me today because it's with my band's kit in a lock-up somewhere. So that's normally the main thing that I start everything on, usually, is a keyboard. So I've got like a dope for A100 modular rack down here, which I've built. So each of these modules is a different part of a synth. So this is a VCO 2RM dual oscillator. There's a sequencer down here, which is really, really cool. I've used pretty much every other sequencer, from Logic to Cubase to Fruity Loops to Nuendo, Pro Tools, Digital Performer, Sonar, all that kind of stuff. But whereas Logic and Cubase just have quite an unfriendly sort of interface that I find makes it really difficult to just get on a vibe. Ableton is very intuitive and lets you just get something going really, really quickly. And this is actually a sampler by Motu. For me, like, one of the most important things about making music is trying to keep it organised and trying to just keep everything organised, like in a system, so that you can find stuff and you can quickly go back and forward. Thanks for joining me for my Producer's House episode. My new single, Hot Right Now, is out now. You can get that on iTunes, and you can find out more information about what I'm up to through my Twitter, which is DJFreshDNB. Peace.